With God's name, can't hear myself. With God's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer, all the praise and gratitude belongs to the Almighty, the one who created us all and sustains everything of our lives from the beginning to what we call the end, what death and beyond. And we pray for peace upon the messenger who is worthy of praise and all of the messengers who are the human examples and the great teachers of universal law, who are the human examples of excellence for all of us to follow. And peace be upon you too, dear learner, dear watcher. So we're just going to have a real brief kind of look at some things that I was thinking about earlier today. And this is really about how the mind works. Because all of us, what's the objective of our life? We want to increase our lives. We want to advance our lives. We all want to live the best possible life that we can while we have this one opportunity. And, you know, how crazy is it that we're really on a ball that's, you know, in space? You know, and when we look at it, things from the big picture, and recognize we have this one opportunity, and things are not so bad. But the way that things are created, and this is kind of the way, the mind of God, if you will, to make things happen, he says be, and it is. That is a process between God saying be or having the idea to create something and it producing itself in form. But this original substance is what Wallace Wattles calls it. He says it's formless stuff and formless substance. When I think about that language, I'm saying, well, that's the source of spirit. Because the spirit is formless. But we're talking about the source of spirit, which is the one, the Almighty. And so when a thought is in the Almighty's mind, whatever that is, we don't understand what that is, then he creates things. So, and this thinking and forming things from this thought that God has and creates it into a substance. This is how everything is created. You know, you can go back to your holy book, to your scriptures, and have descriptions about the creation of things, of this world and life, right? But it all started with an idea, with a thought. So we're not the creator. However, he has given us something that distinguishes us from other forms of creation, and that's the ability to think. You know, to think. to form thoughts. And in order to create or to have, we don't make anything out of formless substance. Something has to already be here. And then we recreate or we make things into different forms. But how can we get the form of what it is that we want to increase our lives and those that we love? This is the question. So what we're learning is that we have to put that thought into the space of this spirit, this source of spirit. And when we put that thought in there firmly enough and support it with faithful work, faithful imagination, purposeful work that we're going to actually achieve this thing that we're thinking of, and we've put it into the spiritual realm. And we do this with a gratitude in our action. Then the Creator will make the form of what it is that we want. I mean, think about everything that you see physically. This microphone, these earphones, this book, this pen, all of it started with an idea that somebody had, a thought that they placed into the spiritual realm, and then they began to work with faith that it would be produced, and they imagined what it would be. Everything that we see, this is how it works. So if we will stop complaining and criticizing and focusing from our negative diseased ego, and we'll begin to think and use this power of thought that we have and put it connected with the spiritual realm, then we can cause those creative energies that belong to the Almighty to create into form what it is that we want. And the things that we want are already out there. They're already working. In fact, the things that you want, they want you. They want to come to you. But it's impossible to make it happen if we're focusing on the opposite of what it is that we want. Every thought of form impressed on this source of spirit causes the creation of that form. So if we are thinking about disease, then there's no way that we're going to have the health. Because the thought of disease is really false. It's an appearance. The truth is health. Poverty can be an appearance, but it's not the truth. The truth is abundance. The truth is prosperity. All we have to do is go to the grocery store and see one brand of oranges. Think about all of the different types of oranges there are. And all of those that are piled up one store, and all of those stores and different brands and franchises and all these things. It's just abundance. So where's this idea of poverty come from? We can't think about sin and study sin and then think we're going to have a righteous life. It's about what we put our attention on. And so most of the basic concept that we have about things has been corrupted. And we look at the appearances of these things. And we don't know what the wisdom behind it is. We don't know what God is doing. Everybody's upset about the election because of the appearance. But we don't know what God. There's a wisdom in it because he wouldn't be in there if God didn't put him in there. There's a wisdom in everything that the Creator does, even though we may not know what that wisdom is. So that's where we learn how to trust, and still be obedient. So how do we put this thought in with the source of spirit? In Hebrew as well as Arabic language, the word for spirit also means breath, and it means wind. So if we have a thought of something that we want, it could be a certain amount of wealth that we want, could be better health, could be better relationships. We have to be specific about what it is that we want. Be very specific about it to create that picture and put that thought. How do we put it into the spiritual realm? Through our breath. We have to be willing to breathe, meditate, if you want to use that word. But we need to put that thought, that image in with our breath and begin to breathe deeply on the thought with the faith that it will be produced in time. We don't control when it's going to come, how it's going to come, what it's going to look like. The only thing we can control is putting our thought and putting in our breath. So when we're breathing on this thought, we want to breathe deeply, not shallow like I'm breathing now. But you know how when you smell a rose, you breathe deeply? Well, when we put the thought in there like that, we're connecting it with the formless substance, with the spiritual world. Now, just because we have a thought and we breathe, that's not the end of it. But that's where it begins. Because there's a relaxing and there's some kind of connection, and maybe we can't explain it all rationally. So the intellect can understand it, but your soul knows what I'm talking about. And your heart knows what I'm talking about. So the way to master our mind is to do what we're talking about and also stay focused on the idea that you want. And when you do your work, have that thought in your mind and the purpose that you're going to accomplish it, and that you're being obedient to what you're being called to do, and you have gratitude. And if you do this every day and feed your mind with positives that are in the direction of where it is you want. If it's wealth, then find a wealth consciousness book and study that every day. They probably have books on YouTube that you can get and just put it in your mind all the time. Turn the TV off, put it in your mind. When you're driving, you can hook the YouTube up to your phone and listen to it while you're moving. Make every moment count, focused on what it is that you're after. And in the right time, what you've put into the spiritual realm and you're doing your work, it's going to produce itself. Just think about everything that you've achieved so far in your life. It's been the same way. You didn't have to force yourself to put in your mind that thing that you wanted. It was always on your mind, right? Well, that's part of the process. You've been using it already, but we just need a way to be able to identify it. And hopefully this brief session will give you some benefits. So we thank you for tuning in, and we pray that God will accept this from us, for surely He is the hearer and the knower. Thank you all for tuning in. And join us on the campaign, DrZHappiness.com. Come on. God bless you.